Alright guys, and this is Trent with GuitarAnimal.com, and today we're going to try to demystify your truss rod adjustment. What the truss rod is a metal rod. Illustrated here as a long bolt in this red line here is basically what a truss rod looks like. It has an adjuster on one end or the other, and then it has a block on the other end that's actually going to affect the neck. The way that it works is you have inside your neck, this is the side of a neck, these represent frets along the top and your nut here. Inside of the neck you have a curved channel, an angled channel. It kind of bows down and back up, and they insert the truss rod in that channel. So when you tighten the truss rod, it pulls against this bowed cut and wants to bend the neck back like this, back against the string pull. Strings want to pull it up. So with the blue line here, the strings are wanting to make the neck bow forward as they're pulling on it from the body down here. They're pulling on it, making it want to bow forward, and the truss rod will counteract that action when you tighten it. When you loosen it, conversely, it would actually want to allow it to bow with the strings, so you can either pull it up for forward bow or bow it back for back bow as you're using a truss rod. Now this is a vintage style truss rod. They also have dual acting truss rods which have a metal rod attached to the truss rod, and it allows you to not only force the neck back but also let it go forward. So some of the more modern guitars have a double acting truss rod. It allows to do both, and what that would look like, the truss rod would then have a steel bar attached, welded to it on both ends, and it allows you to adjust both directions. So you need to, when you're doing truss rod adjustments, you kind of want to know, do I have a dual acting or a single acting truss rod? And usually you can just look your guitar up online, look at the specifications from the manufacturer, and they'll describe it's dual acting or single acting, or just give them a call. You can ask them. All right, these designs here, these are what the end of the truss rod adjustment looks like. Vintage Fenders and such down on the body end of the guitar typically look like this. This is just looking right into it, and you can use a flat blade screwdriver, plug into it, and you're going to adjust it, tightening it to the right, so righty-tighty or lefty-loosey, to adjust that as need be. Again, a lot of times this particular design truss rod adjustment is buried in the guitar, in this basically the neck pocket where the neck is located, into the body, and to get to it a lot of times you have to loosen the neck and push the neck up a bit to get to it. I don't recommend you do that on your own. Take that to your luthier or your whatever your guitar tech is and allow them to do that for you, because I'm not going to advise that you remove the neck of your guitar. Now, for everyone else, if you can get to it on the end here with the headstock, as with Gibsons or some other guitars, even the newer Fenders, you can get to it down there. You can basically play with this a little bit. The danger here is over tightening it and breaking it, because you're dealing with a bolt that's about 5/16 of an inch, very thin, and it's about 2 feet long. You can snap off the threaded end, so you don't want to over tighten it. So when you first are adjusting your truss rod, you don't know where it's at. Is it too tight? Is it all the way at the end of its play or not, where I'm at? So go ahead and engage whatever design nut is on the end of it and start by loosening it, turning it to the left. You loosen it and you can feel, where am I at? How tight is it? So always loosen first to see where you are, and then when you're adjusting it tight, you don't want to over tighten it. Also, adjustments on a truss rod, 1/8 of a turn is a lot. So 1/8 of a turn of a bolt, just like with a screw, would be a lot of adjustment on truss rods. So we want to start with a little bit. All right, these designs here are what different truss rod adjusters look like on the end, the bolts that you'll be encountering when you're trying to adjust them. Either something that takes a regular screw, or something that has, this is more common, takes an Allen head key. And here, this would be like on a Gibson, where you actually have to use a little socket and fit over the top of this to adjust it. But regardless of what they look like, they all adjust the same. So if the neck is bowed too far forward and needs to straighten a bit against the pull of the strings, we're going to tighten the truss rod a bit and see if we can straighten that out. Now keep in mind, we are affecting a piece of wood. Different pieces of wood move at different rates. So you might turn it 1/8 of a turn, and it might only move 10% of what it's going to move over the next week. So try a little bit of an adjustment, let it sit for a week, you can go ahead and play it, and see where it ends up being. Other pieces of wood, you might adjust that 1/8 of a turn, and it might jump 90% of what it's going to adjust. So typically, this is an over the course of 2 or 3 weeks adjustment to get it just right. Things that will affect your bow, in addition to what gauge strings you put on it, would also be the humidity around the guitar. Typically in the winter, when it dries out, I see a lot of guitar necks back bow. They dry out and they pull against the strings. It's not a hard rule because sometimes they move forward, but most times they're going to go backwards. So if you have any questions about this, take it to your guitar tech or your luthier. Ask him what he thinks about you adjusting your truss rod. Again, as long as you don't over tighten it and snap it, you're going to be good. If you do snap the truss rod, it's buried inside the neck. It's not designed to be removed. You'd have to remove fingerboards, and many times you could buy another neck for the price it's going to cost you to have the truss rod replaced. So you do want to be cautious when tightening it. I hope you found this informative. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comment section. And I hope you're enjoying Guitar Animal. This is Trent. I'll see you next time.